Well, you've heard how the union hasn't had a leadership conference since 2013. This has had a massive impact on government's decision to have them deregistered. Well, let's get more analysis from Labour analyst, that's Tony Healy, who joins us via Skype. Mr. Healy, thank you very much for your time. So, I don't know if you heard anything at all from that conversation with my colleague. Essentially here, the registrar speaking to ENCA this morning saying that it's the failure to hold the National Elective Conference of Amcu that is now causing the threats to deregister the union. Have you seen anything like this before?
Yes, indeed. We've seen deregistration of unions before, not for an issue of this nature. Typically, more frequently, it has to do with non-compliance regarding financial accounting. Having said that, Amcu does have a 64-page constitution. It does say it must have a national congress every 5 years. It's in breach of that constitution, and the department has acted. I think the principal issue here is not so much that. It's rather whether the department is acting consistently when it comes to Amcu versus other trade unions.
And that's exactly the point that Amcu seems to be harping on. Tony Healy saying that, first of all, they are receiving unfair attention, or unusual, perhaps I should say, unusual attention from the Registrar of Labour Relations, but also that the Registrar is acting inconsistently in as far as this matter is concerned.
You know, it's hard to argue with that. There is a history of, in 2015, for example, Sipawu was, an attempt was made by the then Registrar to deregister Sipawu for reasons related to financial accounting, and the Minister of Labour intervened, which was highly irregular. And by the time that fracas settled, Sipawu had in fact got their financial accounts in order. So, you know, if Amcu is arguing that they're being treated in an inconsistent fashion, then there is some merit in that argument.
Tony, talk to me about the importance of holding an elective conference after every 5 years. How important is it, perhaps, if you compare it to, let's say, Amcu was not providing the annual audited statements to the department as is required? In other words, how significant a problem is this versus perhaps financials, which one would perhaps think are much more serious?
Well, that's right. I think, you know, on the one hand, it's not as serious as a financial irregularity. On the other hand, it is part of Amcu's constitution. And the registrar will tell you that they have been attempting to get feedback from Amcu for some time regarding why they had not held a 2018 Congress, and they haven't received any satisfactory explanation. And one must remember, from a good governance point of view, you know, Amcu has about 200,000 members. That's about R1 million income per month. They have a national footprint. They're a very important player in the labour relations field, and it makes sense that at least every 5 years that you should have a national congress, as their constitution provides for, to ensure that there's proper elective procedures followed regarding their leadership. So whilst it might look perhaps more trivial than a financial accounting issue, it is nonetheless a very important aspect of any trade union's obligations.
Tony, just as a final question to you, it's no secret that Amcu is a very difficult union to deal with. It has a history of prolonged strikes. It's just come out of one, actually, as we speak. Employers would, I would imagine, love to see the back of them. Importantly, though, are there politics at play here to try and cripple this union?
Look, it's hard to say. I think it's it hasn't been lost on anybody that this has occurred 2 weeks before elections. Amcu's primary competitor is NUM, who of course President Ramaphosa has a long history with. It's COSATU union aligned to the ANC. I think there is reason to at least suspect that there is political interference. Whether there is or isn't, I don't know. But the timing does look perhaps a little sinister.
All right. Thank you very much for your insights. Tony Healy, he's a Labour analyst joining us via Skype in Cape Town. Well.